General Hospital spoilers, Kai reveals identity of Drew's shooter, Jens Austin Astrup off contract.
Port Charles was never silent.
The hum of secrets, the whisper of danger, and the echo of broken promises drifted through every hallway of General Hospital. But on this night, the tension was almost unbearable, because Kai had returned, and he was ready to expose the truth that would shatter the town forever. The hospital corridors buzzed with urgency. Machines beeped in Drew Kane's room while Monica stood near the window, her face pale but her spine straight as steel. Sam sat quietly in the corner, tears glimmering in her eyes. Then, the elevator dinged. Every head turned. The doors slid open to reveal a tall, dark-haired man in a grey coat. His eyes, cold but haunted, swept across the floor.
Kai! Sam gasped. The name alone brought a wave of memories crashing down.
Kai had once been a secret ally, a mysterious man who had saved Drew during a mission overseas. But after Drew was shot outside the Metro Court, Kai had disappeared, without a word, without a trace. Now he was back, and everyone wanted answers.
He stepped toward them slowly.
"I know who pulled the trigger," he said, his voice heavy with regret. Monica froze. What did you just say?"
Kai nodded once. "I found the shooter. And it's someone you all know." The air in the room went still. Sam's lips trembled. "Tell us, Kai.
Please, tell us who did it."
But Kai only looked down at Drew's unconscious body. "Not here," he whispered. "Not yet."
Later that night, the rain poured over Port Charles, beating against the windows of the Quartermain mansion. Inside, the family gathered, Tracy, Ned, Brooklyn, and even Carly, who had come despite her uneasy history with Drew. Kai stood by the fireplace, drenched and pale. A single drop of blood marked his sleeve, not his own.
Tracy crossed her arms. "You said you had answers."
"We're waiting."
Kai took a deep breath.
"Before I tell you who shot Drew, you need to understand why."
He paced the room.
Months ago, Drew was closing in on an illegal arms deal involving someone inside the WSB. I was part of that investigation, until my cover was blown. Drew was marked for death long before that bullet ever reached him.
Brooklyn frowned.
"So this wasn't random?"
Kai shook his head. "No. It was personal. It was revenge." Carly stepped forward. "Just say it, Kai. Who was behind it?" Kai's eyes met hers.
"The shooter was hired by a man named Viktor Karpov, but the one who gave the order," he hesitated, "was someone from inside this very town."
A thunderclap roared. Trace's jaw dropped. "Who?"
Kai looked at the fire, his voice breaking. It was Jens Austin Astrup.
The room exploded in chaos.
Carly gasped, Ned cursed, and Tracy nearly dropped her glass. "Impossible!"
Monica shouted. Jens was Drew's closest ally in the project.
"He was on contract with the WSB," Kai interrupted softly.
"Until he wasn't. They cut him loose after Drew found discrepancies in the mission files."
Jens blamed Drew for ruining his career. And now, the WSB has officially confirmed it.
His off-contract. Disavowed.
Silence fell. Carly whispered, "You're saying Jens tried to kill Drew because he lost his job?"
Kai shook his head. "No. Because Drew discovered something else, something that Jens couldn't let get out." The next morning, sunlight bled through the hospital blinds.
Drew stirred, his eyes fluttering open for the first time in weeks. Sam jumped to her feet, tears streaming down her cheeks. "Drew!
Oh my God, you're awake."
He groaned, his voice rough. "Sam, what happened?" Before Sam could answer, Kai entered the room.
Drew's eyes widened. I thought." "I'm sorry," Kai said.
"I should have come sooner."
Sam held Drew's hand tightly.
"Kai says he knows who shot you."
Drew's face hardened.
"Tell me." Kai placed a folder on the tray table. Inside were photos, maps, and one signed contract termination notice, the name Jens Austin Astrup printed in bold. Drew stared at it, disbelief clouding his eyes. "Jens? No, he saved my life once."
Kai nodded. "And he took it back piece by piece. He blamed you for everything that went wrong."
"When he realized you were about to expose the WSB for covering up an operation in Crete, he pulled the trigger himself. He thought killing you would bury the truth."
Sam's voice shook.
"And what truth is that?" Kai hesitated, then said, "That Drew's mission wasn't what it seemed.
He was never meant to rescue anyone.
He was meant to silence a whistleblower, someone who knew about a black-budget experiment using memory mapping on soldiers.
Drew's breath caught.
You mean, they used me? Kai nodded gravely. You were their prototype. Sam covered her mouth, horrified. But why now?
Drew asked. Why come back?
Kai's expression darkened.
Because Jens isn't finished.
He's on the run, and he's after the evidence I took before he disappeared. If he finds it first, he'll destroy everything, and everyone connected to it.
That night, the pier was wrapped in fog.
Kai waited near the docks, his coat whipping in the cold wind.
He knew Jens would come.
A shadow appeared at the edge of the pier. You always were predictable, Jens said, stepping into the light.
His gun gleamed under the street lamp.
Kai didn't flinch.
You shot an unarmed man, Jens. Why? Jens smirked. Because Drew was about to ruin me.
He knew I leaked the memory protocol to a private contractor. I couldn't let him talk. You could have walked away. I did, until you brought the truth back to town. Jens raised his weapon, but before he could fire, Drew's voice rang out. Drop it, Jens. Both men turned. Drew stood at the top of the steps, weak but determined, a gun in his own hand. Drew, Kai warned.
Jens sneered.
You should have stayed in your hospital bed, hero. You took everything from me, Drew said, his voice shaking with fury. My mission, my memory, my peace. But not anymore.
Jens laughed.
You still don't get it, do you? The WSB will never let you walk free after what you know.
Kai stepped between them. Then let me end this. He lunged just as Jens fired.
The bullet grazed Kai's arm and ricocheted into the water. Drew tackled Jens, the two men crashing onto the pier. For a moment, it was chaos, fists, shouts, splashes of blood, until Drew finally pinned Jens to the ground. Police sirens wailed in the distance.
Kai grabbed his phone. His down. I've got him. As the officers cuffed Jens, Drew looked at him one last time. You were my friend. Jens met his gaze coldly.
You were my mistake. They dragged him away as the rain began to fall again. Days later, peace slowly returned to Port Charles. Drew sat by the hospital window, the sunlight warming his bandaged shoulder. Sam entered quietly with coffee in her hands. You did it, she said softly. It's over.
Drew looked out at the skyline. I thought it would feel like victory.
It just feels empty.
Kai entered, his arm in a sling.
Justice never feels clean, Drew.
But it's done.
Jens is in custody. The WSB can't bury it anymore.
Monica appeared in the doorway. And you both saved this town a second time. You should be proud.
Kai smiled faintly. I didn't do it for pride. I did it because I owed you, and because Drew deserved the truth.
Sam stepped forward.
What will you do now? Kai glanced at the window, his eyes distant. The WSB wants me back, but I'm done with them.
Too many ghosts. Drew stood and extended his hand. Then stay in Port Charles.
Start over.
Kai shook his head.
This place belongs to people who can still believe in something good.
I'm not one of them.
He turned to leave, but Sam stopped him.
Kai, thank you. For saving him. For everything.
He nodded once, then disappeared down the corridor. Outside, he paused in front of the hospital sign, General Hospital, and whispered, Not all wounds heal here. Then he walked away into the sunlight, his coat flapping in the breeze.
2 weeks later, the headlines read,
Jens Astrup officially off contract. WSB confirms termination after Port Charles arrest. The article praised Drew for his bravery, celebrated Kai's role in exposing corruption, and hinted that new leadership was coming to the WSB. But deep inside the organization, another file was being opened, marked Project Rebirth. A voice on a secure call whispered, Kai thinks it's over.
He's wrong.
We still have Subject 7. The monitor flashed with an image. A man lying unconscious, his face obscured by shadows. The figure stirred, and the screen went black. At the Metro Court, Sam and Drew sat together watching the sunset. Drew reached for her hand. No more secrets.
Sam smiled softly.
No more bullets. But as the camera pulled back, a man in a black coat stepped out from the crowd, a small scar running down his cheek, Jens's brother. He watched them quietly, whispering, You took my blood. Now I'll take yours. The screen faded to black as the familiar General Hospital theme rose.